What's up guys, I'm Ben and this is Kame Trick. It's the channel that bridges the gap between sim drifting and real life drifting. Here, we do both. Today I actually had a pleasant surprise because I was thinking about what sort of content I wanted to make for you guys, and when I checked social media I saw that fellow driver and YouTuber Random Call Sign has actually shouted me out and called me out to participate in a challenge called the LD Drift Challenge. And that is organized by Mr. LD himself, Lawrence DeSouza. He is another YouTuber and sim driver as well. I think he does more grip, but he put together a little challenge basically for 5 beginner level skills and 5 advanced level skills, talking about can you drift? And I'm gonna just do both real quick. We are in an online live server, so I'm gonna try and do this in one session. However, I might get wrecked. We will see how that goes. We're gonna just run through the beginner skills. That'll only take a moment. First up is an ebrake turn. So that's basically where you get up to speed, clutch in, ebrake, and then hit the foot brake to bring the car around in a smooth little 180. Now you may have noticed that I didn't actually pull an ebrake, but on the camera to the far right, you may have seen that I was basically typing away. I have a pretty slick ebrake, but unfortunately the shaft in here actually snapped. So I've got to repair that, which I'll do in a future video. It ended up breaking on stream, which was pretty funny. I'll roll the clip real quick. Some pretty basic stuff. Oh, that's a bad sign. So yeah, for the time being, we're just making do with the spacebar, and it's surprisingly not too bad. One nice thing about this ebrake turn is if you combine it with second gear, you can actually shift down to first and do a nice little 180 turn like that. So that's a fun little skill to have, especially one to break out in real life. It just looks really pleasant to see. Another fun thing you can do, this is a bonus skill, it's not even in the challenge, is you can shift into reverse and do a 180 very easily. So just build up some speed, cut the wheel, clutch in, shift to first, and then clutch kick out. And you can do a very fast change of direction that way, so that's something fun. Alright, our second beginner level skill is the powerslide. We're going to start this in second gear, and all you're going to do is get a little bit of momentum, not much, turn the wheel, make sure that you're not understeering the front wheels before you start, otherwise it won't work very well for you. And then you're just going to mash onto the throttle, unwind the steering as the rear of the car comes around, and then carry it around in a nice drift. Our third skill is a figure 8, and you can start that with a clutch kick, or you can start it just like the power slide. So you're maintaining a circle, now you need to change directions. And there's a couple of ways to do that and a couple of general pointers. One is that the more angle that you have when you start your transition, odds are you'll transition to more angle as well. So if you're spinning, you might transition from a little bit less angle. And if you're gripping up, you might transition from a bit more. Next up, you can watch my pedal cam, and you can see that we're balancing here, and when we're ready to transition, we let off throttle, wait for the car to come around, and then roll back into throttle after it's finished changing directions. You can also do this on power, but that's generally, if I'm just chilling and driving, that's the way that I go about it. Next up, we need to link 3 corners. That is skill number 4. To do that, we are going to come over to the small track. This is Bihoku Highlands in Japan. I've drifted in Japan in real life. It's a good time. I used to live there. Nihongo mo hanasemasu. But that is neither here nor there for this challenge. So we're going to come in with a clutch kick, doing the tight track. We'll say that's 1 turn. There's 2. There's 3, and I'll just go ahead and do the entry as well for fun. And there you go. We have linked some corners. The last skill is a wall ride, and there's 2 places on this little track where there is a wall to ride. One is coming up right here, See if I can get out to the wall for you guys. Oh, that was a little too much wall. We definitely got it. Had that been real life drifting, the car would have just deformed a little bit, and it wouldn't have had such a big reaction, but the Assetto Corsa model is not capable of deformation, so anytime that you tap the wall, even a little bit, you almost always get thrown for a full loop. There's also a wall here that we can try to run out to. I didn't exactly make that. And there's one here, which I am too close to. Nope. I thought I was going to hit it, so I didn't worry about trying to make it around the track.
Perfect.
I'll do that one more time. One more time, as Jared Deanda would say. He's the commentator for Formula Drift, and all around a nice fella. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. We can even ride the outside down this little hill just for good measure. And that wraps up the beginner challenge. Now we'll move on to the advanced challenge. And its first skill is another wall ride, perhaps a little bit gnarlier one. So hopefully that was a decent wall ride. We've got one more that we can do before we have a spot to demonstrate the next skill. Although I'm gonna just scrub it because I'm giving this guy some room. Wow, that guy just did a barrel roll. Good times. Alright, so the next skill, since I was gonna wall ride here, but you know, it's a live server, so you make do with what you can. The next skill is a backwards entry. Now to do a backwards entry, you're essentially going to enter earlier and faster than you normally would. Oh my. Joys of the computer internet. This guy's probably going to hop in behind me and scrub my run. But you're going to come in an early and fast transition with big angle, clutch in. And then come around like so. I'm just going to ghost because, no offense guy, I am trying to get this video shot. I will tandem with you here in a little bit, quite happily. I'm going to try one more. Oh, that's wall. That was way too close. Alright. In real life, I have a lot more mechanical sympathy, but honestly, in sim, I use its benefits to the full advantage that I can. Essentially meaning, it's not going to hurt the car, there's no car to fix, so why wouldn't I want to just send it and drive as hard as I can?
Round 3, fight!
So we're going to sling it around, clutch in, and throw that backwards entry. I don't do a lot of these in real life because when you are past basically perpendicular to the track, you are essentially dragging the front tires. And the reason that the car can go backwards and then come back is because the front tires are dragging a little bit more than the rears, and so they end up like pulling the car back around. But you can essentially flat spot your fronts if you do a whole bunch of backwards entries or a whole bunch of 360s, which is why I don't do them a whole lot. Speaking of 360s, that is our next skill. It is skill number 3 on the advanced track. So let's try and do a 360 entry real quick. It's essentially just a backwards entry on steroids, but you change up what you do with your counter steer to send the car around just like that. So I can try to break that down for you guys as well. Essentially, you're going to want to start with a manji so that you're at a big angle like this, and then instead of transitioning and letting the wheel flow through your hands to counter steer, you're actually going to hold it steered in the previous direction, preventing entirely any counter steer from occurring. You're effectively spinning into the slide. That's going to whip the car around into a spin really quick, and it's that momentum that's going to allow you to then proceed on, do a 360, and get back on throttle if you time everything correctly. When the car is facing about perpendicular, you're going to clutch in and await your opportunity to then dump the clutch. You release the wheel at that point as well. Oh boy. Well, I got messed up. because I kind of had to kill off some of my momentum for this guy to go around. So we're just going to come in here. I do want to try and show you that again. I can do a more proper video on this at some point in the future. But you're going to charge up some big angle. Let it come around, clutch in, hold the wheel, and then clutch back out like so. And so that's the gist for that. Next up is hit the clips. Now this track doesn't exactly have any clips on it to hit. However, we can pretend that there are some clips. Generally, clips are going to be inside and outside clips. So here's an outside white curb. We'll try to get out to it. Here's a little cone. We'll try to get up close to it. We can try to get close to this. We can go out close to this outside wall. We can come around somewhat tight. It could have been tighter on that inside section there. Too tight there. And we can fill this outer zone. And then steer around. Oh, that was an actual wall hit. And then I'm going to let my buddy go by here. I think this is my friend Shadow Hunter. I asked him to hop onto the server with me for a little bit so that I could demonstrate the final technique in here, which is door to door, essentially proper tandem. So let's give it a go here. And again, this is all live, all one cut. So we will see what sort of performance I can rustle up just totally out of the blue. When you are tandeming door to door with another car, which he's got his gearing set a little different than me, so he is running away from me in a few sections of this track. But it's really going to be all about your transition timing. As he just totally tries to phase me with a backy. I think that was a coincidence. Give him a little tap there. Too much backy, my friend. That was pretty rowdy. Essentially what you're going to be trying to do is match the lead car's speed and angle through as much of the track as you can. And when you do that, it's also going to cause you to match their line. Like here, for example, I'm failing to do that because I came out not wide enough. Oh, and he ended up tagging the wall. That's okay. It gives me a chance to talk a little bit. So yeah, you're going to be matching their line, their speed, and their angle. And the trick to this is start close so that you can stay close, because if you have to manage a whole lot of difference in speed, it's going to be a lot harder to get close to them, and differences in closing speed is also when you tend to get the bad accidents if someone misjudges things or something unexpected occurs. Just didn't have enough speed there, so that was my fault. One of the tips, the other tips that I like to provide, aside from start close, start with proximity rather than what I'm having to do right here, which is try to creep up on somebody, is to watch the lead car and kind of know the line that most people will take throughout the track. And if you know that, then there's a pretty good probability that you can predict when the lead car is going to transition, and try to transition at the same time as the lead car, sometimes even slightly before them, and that's going to enable you to stay in pretty solid synchronization. Now granted, if you get too close to them, like that, then you do have to watch during the transition that you don't hit nose to tail. So in those cases, what you end up doing is getting really tight. Too close to the wall there. We all got taken out. You end up getting really tight here as the chase car, and when they go to transition, they're going to scrub their bumper across the front of your car, which is no good for anybody. Not to mention that if there's walls on the track, you could totally cause them to get taken out by the wall. And that's not going to be fun for anyone. So what you want to try to do, if you are really up close, is anticipate when they're going to transition and actually let off throttle a bit. And what I do is I lose a little bit of speed, and then I start my transition a little bit before they do. And that way I'm able to get on power here and pull right back in behind that lead car. So that's essentially what I'm doing when you see solid tandem out of me on my channel, or in real life for that matter as well, for those of you guys who come out and ride with me at events. I'm going to stroll over here, go the wrong way for just a second, and see if I can't get in a couple of more laps with somebody here on the small track. This is a good place to sit for those of you guys who haven't been to Bihoku before, because if you have a wide enough view or VR, which I can see way over here to my 90-degree right, you can watch people coming down the hill and then pull in behind them. So here comes a Death Wish Garage S14. I'm in a WDT Street S14, so I'm going to pull in behind. Oh, and the curse, he ended up wiping out. I am looking specifically for people to follow for this video, so I'm not going to be the gentleman that I normally am on streams and lead. That was a little dicey. This is why normally you follow somebody from afar a little bit first before you get right up on their door, because you don't exactly know what they're going to do. And then left foot brake is another technique that you'll see used in proximity drifting. That's going to allow you to modulate the distance between, oh, that was bad, between you and the lead car. While still protecting your angle. So like here I'm going to get on throttle, and instead of coming off, especially for turbo cars, which you need to keep spooled, you can just left foot brake, and that's going to keep your car in power so that when you need to get back onto the gas, you can do so. And I gave him the tiniest little bump. So that is the gist of that, and that's going to wrap us up. We'll just pull over here, having completed the Advanced LD Drift Challenge. So Lawrence, thank you for that. I enjoy drifting all the time on the channel, whether it's in real life or whether it's in sim, but I'll take any excuse that I can to make some more content. So that was fun. I appreciate it. It's been a while since I've just made a strong effort to go through all the techniques that I know, and those are a good number of them. As far as next steps, I do need to challenge a couple of folks myself, so I'd like to challenge some IRL drivers out in Florida that I am acquainted with, but haven't had the chance to really drive with, unfortunately, just because of the pure geographical distance between us. That is Taylor Ray. Taylor, I know you've got a sim, and actually it's your sim that inspired me to get back into sim driving, because I had done grip driving in an old Logitech wheel that was just not at all acceptable for drifting. It was an old Driving Force Pro. But when I saw your Fanatec video and I was able to watch the wheel counter steer, like self-steer, and watch your hands, I was able to tell that it was a realistic experience. And so, thanks to you, I decided to get into sim drifting again, and now I'm having a great time making all this rad content. So Taylor, I challenge you. I also want to throw the challenge out to Ben Conrad. Ben has been sim drifting way longer than I have, and quite possibly regular sim driving longer than me as well. I started a bit before LFS came out, but I'd love to drive with you in sim at some point, Ben, so if you're down, hit me up. Otherwise, you might be able to check this challenge out. And last but not least, I want to throw the challenge out to my buddy Fielding Shredder in the Lone Star Drift crew just down south from me. Fielding has got a sim setup that he's working on. I don't know if he's actually got it together, or if he has, there's a small period where you actually have a difficult time getting used to using just visual cues to drift as opposed to all the G-forces that you can normally feel. I realized it'd be more entertaining for me to just drive while I talk to you guys. So I want to throw the challenge out to fielding as well, but only if you are up to it at this point. I believe that the deadline for submitting a video, if there is such a thing, is the end of April, maybe, or May 1st. So I don't know, it might be a little bit late. I kind of got the challenge late as well. And on that note too, I want to thank Random Call Sign for thinking of me and for throwing out the challenge. And personally, I would like to suggest that Random Call Sign, myself, and the other folks that he challenged, or really anybody who has participated in this challenge series so far, get together for a special tandem YouTuber session. I think that would be super rad. So you guys know where to find me. Hit me up on Discord, YouTube, Instagram, and we'll see if we can't get together and make some unique collab content. As you guys know me, I'm all about drifters without borders, being able to slide with everybody and anybody, because cars and drifting is a universal language, and we all love it. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing as well. And if you want to see some of my IRL drift content, I do have playlists just for you on that. If you're new and you're thinking about getting into Assetto Corsa, I have tutorial series as well, so do check out the playlists section of my channel. And I'm not going to keep you guys here any longer than I need to, because I'm sure that there's more rad videos you want to check out, and I've got to get to work on my next video as well. So we're going to close this out with one last 360 entry attempt, because those are just gnarly. And when we get done with quarantine, I'm going to do some 360 attempts in my real car. I haven't before for the aforementioned reason, but I'm pretty sure with the extra sim practice I've been able to get during this off season, I'll be able to do it. Did you hear that? That was a nose tap on that wall. That was a wall ride 360. I don't know, some sort of skateboarder terms. That was rowdy. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Have a good night, guys. Peace.